In this video, let's identify horizontal and vertical motions of a projectile and explain horizontal and vertical motions of a projectile. There are two types of projectile motion. First, horizontally launched projectile and angle launched projectile. First, let's have horizontally launched projectile. Horizontally launched projectiles are objects thrown in a horizontal direction from a certain height, like this marble and this human. Let's have horizontally launched projectile in a simulator. Projectile is an object undergoing a projectile motion. Our projectile here is the human. Height. Height is the vertical distance from the projectile to the ground. Our height is 10 meters. Trajectory. Trajectory is the path taken by a projectile. Range. Range is the horizontal distance covered by a projectile. Horizontal velocity is responsible for the projectile to travel at a vertical distance. What can you observe about the arrow going right? Does it change? No, because there is no force acting on horizontal velocity, which means that there is no acceleration. Vertical velocity. Vertical velocity is responsible for the projectile to travel at the vertical distance. What can you observe about the arrow going down? Does it change? Yes, it is gradually increasing. This is due to the gravity accelerating at 9.8 meters per second squared. The second type of projectile motion is the angle launch projectile. Angle launch projectile are objects thrown or launched at an angle with respect to the horizontal and rises to the peak while moving horizontally, like this basketball and this motorcycle. Let's have angle launch projectile in a simulator. Angle. Angle is a numerical value in degrees expressing the orientation of the projectile to be thrown or launched. Our angle here is 40 degrees. Projectile. Projectile is an object undergoing a projectile motion. Our projectile here is the human. Maximum height. Maximum height is the maximum vertical distance from Earth's projectile can reach. Trajectory. Trajectory is the path taken by a projectile. Range. Range is the horizontal distance covered by a projectile. Horizontal velocity. Horizontal velocity is the horizontal distance covered by a projectile. The arrow going up and down is the vertical velocity. It is responsible for the projectile to travel at a vertical distance. Vertical velocity can be described in three parts. First, as the projectile rises from point A to B, the vertical velocity is decreasing. This is because the gravity is opposite to the projectile motion. Second, as the projectile reaches the maximum height, which is point B, it momentarily stops, causing a vertical velocity equal to 0, and then continue moving downwards. Third, when it returns back to the ground, it agrees to the direction of the gravitational force. Hence, vertical velocity is increasing. Let's compare horizontally launched projectile and angle launched projectile. As we can see, angle launched projectile is traveling in a curved path. In mathematical terms, this is what we call parabola. An angle launched projectile exhibits a full parabolic trajectory.